Week 1 of the 2021 NFL season is now officially in the books, and it ended with quite the game between the Ravens and Raiders on Monday Night Football. Now, with Week 1 being over, it is time for overreaction season, and that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. With only one game being played, fans of NFL teams can pretty much spin the game any way they want. For fans of teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who held Buffalo to 16 points in Week 1, then watched the Ravens lose on Monday night, and the Browns losing in Kansas City as well for that matter, they can spin their beliefs and drink the Kool-Aid and say, we're back, the defense is great, Baltimore is done, and we are going to run the North this year. Jaguars fans can say regarding their Week 1 performance, well, Trevor threw a few interceptions, but he also threw a few touchdowns, and we know there's going to be growing pains. It's a part of the NFL. Pretty much, no matter what, you can spin your team's performance to a positive way, and there are countless ways to spin that, so without further ado, let's dive right in. And the first overreaction from Week 1 is, and honestly this may not be that much of an overreaction, but Urban Meyer does not last a full season in Jacksonville, and if he does, he will be exiting right shortly after. I was never a fan of this hire and thought really aside from drafting Trevor Lawrence at 1-1 in the 2021 draft, I did not like much else the Jags did for the entire offseason. We saw Urban on Sunday be visibly frustrated on the sideline, and when you're losing to the Texans in your debut by 20 points, who could blame him? But with USC head coach Clay Helton recently being fired, there has already been a lot of speculation that Urban would go there due to him being as good as he is as a head coach at the NCAA level. We have seen other college coaches fail when coming to the NFL, and no better example of that is Nick Saban. Saban is an absolute legend, as he has 7 total national championships as a college coach, but when he came to the NFL to coach the Miami Dolphins, he went just 15-17. Coaching college football and coaching the NFL are two completely different ballgames, and I think Urban realized it in just the first week of the season. The only question for his future is, will USC find a coach now or wait until January when the offseason is in full swing and everyone has time to sit down and discuss what the future of the USC program is? For the University of Southern California, there will not be a more qualified candidate than Urban based on what he has done at the collegiate level, and with his frustration and lack of success with what will naturally happen given he inherited a one-win football team in Jacksonville, my guess is they will wait to see how Urban and the Jags season plays out in 2021. Next, we head to Los Angeles to discuss Matt Stafford and the LA Rams. There was a lot of understandable hype and speculation coming into this game because for the past 5 years or so, it has been Stafford is good and even great on some levels, but his team is horrendous, the coaching staff around him is horrible, and to free him from the city of Detroit and let him blossom elsewhere. Well, on Sunday we caught our first glimpse of that, and it was absolutely spectacular. Stafford had time in the pocket, had great receivers to throw the ball to, and was cool and confident all night. The overreaction is if the Rams continuously play like this, then there is no reason to think they can't play in a home Super Bowl and ultimately win a home Super Bowl in February, because who is going to stop them? I fully realize the Bucs are a good team and have quite the roster in their own rights, and really quite the quarterback in his own rights, but the Rams looked nearly unstoppable in Week 1, and again, this is an overreaction video. It was against the Bears, who is a team that we presume to be in the 5-8 win range in 2021, so it wasn't exactly against a fellow NFC West team, but if you are a Rams fan that has had to deal with for the past 6 years a combination of Nick Foles before he became BDN and Jared Goff, then you have to be pleased with the first game of the Matt Stafford era. Side note, the current Rams throwback uniforms that they wore on Sunday were fire, and I hope they wear them again soon. But for the Rams to open up the new stadium and dominate the way they did is extremely encouraging for this team and fan base who went to the divisional round of the playoffs last year with a quarterback who is not nearly as talented as Matthew Stafford. Next is the Ravens aren't by any means done, but they are not going to go far in the playoffs, and it boils down to a few things. We saw on Monday night them lose to the Raiders, and they're not done because they're 0-1, but I would be extremely surprised if they do not lose to the Chiefs this week. Lamar has never beat the Chiefs, and with the talent they have around him right now, I don't think there's any way they do this weekend either. The injuries certainly don't help, but the offensive line line they have is horrific, and we saw Al Villanueva get beat time and time again on Monday night, and there were certainly times for Lamar where it was not pretty to say the least. This team will have to deal with both the Steelers and Browns in their division, and as if that's not enough, more than likely have to go to a team like Kansas City in the playoffs on the road, assuming they make it that far. The AFC is loaded beyond measure, and the Ravens' weapons in players like Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, and Sammy Watkins do not compare to players like Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. To be fair, most teams' weapons don't either, but I don't necessarily think the Ravens are done, let's just throw the towel in now, but it's not unreasonable to think they won't make the Super Bowl this year, and a lot of that, though not all of it, can be attributed to injuries. This is going to be a much different year for the Ravens than we are used to, and by season's end, I honestly expect the Lamar haters to be out in full bloom and to be saying any and everything imaginable when it comes to Lamar. From the running back playing quarterback, which is an absolutely horrible take by the way, to he can't win big games and everything in between. The talent Lamar has to work with this year will expose the Ravens, and given that they are in a conference as loaded as the AFC and going to be in a three-way and honestly possibly a four-way race for the AFC North, the outlook for them is bleak with what they have coming up. This isn't a Lamar sucks, the Ravens sucks take. This is the AFC is absolutely loaded, and I don't know how they're going to beat all these teams en route to a Super Bowl take. It is more showing respect to other teams in the conference than it is completely throwing the Ravens underneath the bus, to be 100% clear. Next, we go to Minnesota to discuss the Vikings and everything surrounding what's going on in the North. So, first things first, this Cincinnati game was a must-win, and you may be thinking, yeah right, how is a Week 1 game already a must-win? And that is a completely plausible thought. However, when you look at the schedule, and especially the next 3 games, which are at Arizona, home against Seattle, and home against Cleveland, you quickly see why it was a must-win in Week 1. You can blame this loss on a lot of things. However, one thing I will not blame this on is the refs. There were countless false starts, holdings, and everything in between, and the Vikings shot themselves in the foot plenty of times. The overreaction here is this team may start out 2-7 or even 2-8, and I'll show the upcoming schedule and let that be the explanation as to why they could. Detroit at home and at Carolina would be the presumable wins here, but how could any Vikings fan with confidence say, after seeing Kyler Murray have the game he did against the Titans on Sunday and Chandler Jones have 5 sacks, knowing who the Vikings are trotting out at left tackle in Rashad Hill, think they are going to go out there and beat them in their own stadium considering the circumstances? Russell Wilson is undefeated lifetime against the Vikings, as he always pulls something out against them, and is also a player who just threw for 4 touchdowns against the Colts. The Browns are one of the most complete teams in the NFL and nearly beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead, so there's no explanation needed really beyond that. 0-4 is certainly not out of the realm of possibilities for them. I realize saying a 2-7 start with this team as talented as they are, with players like Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, is shocking at the initial thought of this, but this schedule is absolutely brutal, and I don't know how this team will go in with Kirk Cousins at quarterback and beat these teams, and especially when you have to stop the Cowboys with all of their weapons, then go to Baltimore and go to LA immediately after. So 4 straight games for this team off of their Week 7 bye are against Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Aaron Rodgers. We have all seen the stats for Kirk Cousins against winning teams, and we all know they're not good to say the least. I would imagine all of these teams will have winning records by then, and for the Vikings, this could be the last 7 or 8 games they have with Mike Zimmer, unless something seriously changes between now and then. Again, this is an overreaction video, and this is not saying this will for sure happen, but I don't think anything I'm saying is exactly out of the realm of possibilities with this team based on what we saw on Sunday. So let me know what you think in the comments about today's video. If you have any overreaction comments for yourself that you'd like to get off your chest, let me know what you think, and until next time, as we wrap up today's video, now is the time I ask that you like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it would mean the world. And until next time, have a great day. Love you guys. Deuces. Peace.